And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza. And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide. I also broadcast on Roar, 1776 Radio, and Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day simply by clicking on that icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. And you can call into my show if you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything. You can do that by dialing directly into the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number is 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Today, my expert contributor is David Garrett on the law, and my special guest, Sean LaFave, with his series, Geared for Wellness. He's going to talk about GMOs, I think, today. At least I think that's what his plan was. But stand by for news. But before that, I want you to know that at 4:02 p.m. Pacific Time, it is currently 85 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, I promised you the news, so let's get to it, because, boy, there is lots of it. You know, after a raucous debate, GOP's rowdy 2016 field is back at work. The raucous field of Republican presidential candidates hustled back before voters Friday, hoping to build on momentum from their first meeting of the 2016 campaign and clean up any debate night messes that were left behind. It's not easy with 10 people debating, said Jeb Bush, who spent today on the New Hampshire coast before an evening town hall. Bush, among the rivals scrambling for notice in a campaign dominated at the moment by Donald Trump, said, "I don't view debating as a question of winning and losing. It's the cumulative effect of shaping people's opinions of who you are that matters over the long haul." Now, after Thursday night's debate, a long haul is what the GOP appears to be in for, with billionaire businessman Trump showing no signs of letting up, and none of the other 16 major Republicans in the race ready to concede. Anything after just one debate, the contest for the Republican nomination is an unsettled affair that's just getting started. Boy, I'll tell you, that's an absolute fact. As a matter of fact, that's not even an absolute fact. That's an absolute understatement. Now, we were talking about Trump. Well, Trump says he can't recall using insults that he's made often. He says, the presidential candidate Donald Trump said today he can't recall using words such as dog, fat, and disgusting to insult women that he believes have slighted him. But such language litters his Twitter feed and other public comments that he's made for years. The issue took center stage at the first Republican debate of the 2016 campaign for president when Fox News moderator Megyn Kelly asked Trump about his use of such language and whether it reflected the temperament of a man that we should elect as president. Trump largely dismissed Kelly's question at the debate, and in a series of interviews today on network television, the billionaire businessman questioned whether he had actually used the words as Kelly had alleged. Some of the statements that she made about women, I don't recognize those words whatsoever. Trump said on ABC's Good Morning America, "We're going to take a very serious look at it." Trump has a long history of lobbing insults at those he feels have treated him unfairly and advises those who buy his books to do the same. For many years, I've said that if someone screws you, screw them back. He wrote in Trump How to Get Rich. When somebody hurts you, just go after them as viciously and as violently as you can. When doing so, he has repeatedly targeted women and their physical appearance. Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob. She talks like a truck driver, he said in a 2006 in 2006 during an interview with Entertainment Tonight. I'd look her right in that fat, ugly face of hers. I'd say, Rosie, you're fired, from her television show, The View. Well, that's Donald Trump. You know what? And I got a feeling that that's what people are enjoying. They're liking they're finding it refreshing. Instead of having a lot of politicians lie to us and cover up, Donald Trump is telling it like it is, and he's telling it like we feel it. How about this? This just in today, Iran nuclear deal opens diplomatic channels for Syria. The nuclear deal with Iran was widely expected to affect other Middle East issues, and that may already be happening with Syria. A series of recent diplomatic maneuvers suggest a growing willingness to at least engage with the Iranian-backed government of Bashar Assad on ways to end the country's civil war. The embattled leader seems no more inclined to step aside now than he did 4 years ago, and any agreement still looks to be far off. But the search seems to be on for an elegant solution that might, for example, allow him a transitional role. In part, it is also driven by the new leadership team in Saudi Arabia, which emerged with the accession to the throne of King Salman, in January. Another factor is the emergence and spread of the violent and fanatical Islamic State group as the most potent opposition to Assad, far more so than the relatively moderate rebels who won a measure of world support after the conflict began 4 years ago. Despite the government's brutality and aerial bombardment that has leveled some opposition in held areas, the 50-year-old former eye doctor now seems, at least to some, comparatively more palatable. Well, you know what? The Civil War has killed at least 250,000, displaced half the population, flooded brittle neighborhood countries with refugees, and has left jihadis occupying not only much of Syria, but also perhaps a third of Iraq. Well, you know what? What a great world we live in, huh? Just think about it. Well, speaking of Iraq, thousands of Iraqis are protesting against the government corruption. Like they think that's new, right? Thousands of Iraqis braved the scorching summer heat to stage a huge protest in central Baghdad today, calling on the prime minister to dissolve the parliament and sack corrupt government officials. Security forces and riot police sealed off Iraqi's iconic Tahrir Square and searched anyone who entered the area. But tens of thousands of men, women, and children thronged the sprawling square, waving Iraqi flags. In the name of religion, the thieves robbed us. They chanted long into the evening. Men with the government-backed Popular Mobilization Forces, the umbrella group made up predominantly of Shiite militias, pulled up in trucks and handed out ice water bottles to the protesters. Their gesture was welcomed by roaring shouts in support of the parliamentary force now fighting the Islamic State group. The PMU was hastily assembled last year with pre-existing militias and new volunteers to reinforce the Iraqi military after it crumbled in the face of Sunni militant blitz that seized a third of the country. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to talk about some more news. And right off the bat, it's going to be Obama suffers a setback as the top Democrat, actually, Schumer rejects the Iran deal. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages, so don't go away. You don't want to miss this. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And now we're still talking about the news. You know, Obama suffers a setback as the top Democrat, Chuck Schumer, rejects the Iran deal. President Barack Obama suffered a notable setback in his all-out campaign to secure Democratic support for the Iran nuclear deal when the leading Jewish Democrat in the Senate announced his opposition. The question is how significant the blow will turn out to be. Republicans, infuriated by Obama's recent comparison of GOP foes of the pact of death to America, Iranian hardliners immediately focused on the stunning break with the president by Chuck Schumer of New York, and they're urging other Democrats to buck the administration. But there was no quick indication that the announcement by Schumer, the number 3 Senate Democrat and party leader in waiting, would trigger a rush of Democratic opposition to the international accord, which aims to curb Iran's nuclear program in exchange for billions of dollars in relief from crippling economic sanctions. In fact, just hours after Schumer's late Thursday statement, Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin and Vermont Independent Bernie Sanders endorsed the deal, bringing the number of Senate backers to 15. Remember, they need 47. The test of a great nation is not how many wars it can engage in, but how it can resolve international conflicts in a peaceful manner, said Sanders, a Democratic presidential candidate, who said he spoke to Obama just this morning. Still, a second New Yorker, Representative Elliot Engel, the top Democrat on the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and an additional Democratic member of the panel, Brad Sherman of California, joined Schumer today in opposing the deal. 5 weeks before crucial votes in Congress, Schumer's decision was seen as a blow to the administration, whose intense lobbying on Capitol Hill since last month's deal had produced a steady stream of support from Democrats who had been the most vocal in demanding congressional oversight, including Virginia's Tim Kaine and Florida's Bill Nelson. But Democrats in the House and Senate said they remained confident that a sufficient number would ensure Obama's deal survives. You know, a lot of this stuff is just, positioning, especially with Chuck Schumer. You know, he's got to watch out. He's got a lot of contacts, a lot of friends, especially in Israel, and he's probably bowing to the pressure that comes in from Bibi Netanyahu. Truth is, when Schumer made this announcement, he did it right in the middle of this presidential debate, so that it kind of got pushed to the back wall a little bit, so that most Americans weren't even aware of it. I don't even know how much play it's going to get. I was actually watching the news most of the day, and there was very little play on that. We'll see what the rest of the month has to do with it, and we'll see if Chuck Schumer comes out vocally against it, or just he's made his announcement and he's done with it. Now, also today, a deadline passes for the Croat held by the Islamic State militants in Egypt. Police searches and diplomatic efforts intensified over the fate of a Croatian hostage held in Egypt by Islamic State extremists who threatened to kill him today if the government did not release imprisoned Islamist women. The group's Egyptian affiliate said Wednesday that it would kill 30-year-old Tomislav Solopek in 48 hours if the Egyptian government did not release jailed Muslim women, a reference to those detained in the government's crackdown on supporters of the Muslim Brotherhood and other Islamists. And extremist sympathizers noted the passage of the deadline on social media. Croatia's foreign minister, Vesna Pusic, met with her Egyptian counterpart in Cairo to press efforts. Foreign Minister Sameh Sorki, his office pledged in a statement that Egypt will spare no effort in the search for Solopek. No other information was immediately available about the fate or the hostage. A married father of two in previous kidnapping situations involving the Islamic State group, deadlines have passed and videos of killings have appeared later. You know what? If you pray for this man. That's all I can say. France expands the hunt for debris in a week-long reunion search. A French search plane lifted off today for a bird's-eye view of Reunion Island, seeking any more potential debris from Malaysia Airlines Flight 370. French authorities said today they've launched a one-week-long operation with boats and aircraft scouring the Indian Ocean island, where a wing fragment was discovered 9 days ago. Malaysian officials say it came from the missing Boeing 777, but investigators from other countries are being more cautious. The prefect of the French Overseas Department, Dominique Sorain, said today that the search would cover an area about 75 miles by 25 miles around the east coast where the 2-meter-long wing fragment was found. Sorain said other objects have been found on the island beaches since last week and have been removed for examination, but he said officials don't know if these belong to the plane. There remained a difference of opinion between Malaysian officials and the counterparts in France, the U.S., and Australia over whether the wing part known as a flaperon was definitely from Flight 370. Well, I guess time will tell. It's been a long time already, and the families of those people need some closure, so let's hope that they get it. Well, a year after Michael Brown's death, Ferguson has changed. A year ago, Ferguson, Missouri was a mostly quiet working-class suburban town. The uneasy relationship between its growing black population and its mostly white police force barely registered in local headlines. Everything changed on August the 9th, 2014, when a white police officer named Darren Wilson shot and killed Michael Brown, an unarmed black 18-year-old. The street confrontation on that sultry day launched the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, the city government and the streets themselves look much different. The city has a new police chief, a new city manager, and a new municipal judge, all blacks who replaced the white leaders. All Ferguson officers wear body cameras. The city council has new members, too, several of whom are black. And the business district that was at the center of last year's sometimes violent protests is slowly rebuilding. The unrest that followed the shooting scarred a proud community which has spent nearly a year trying to atone for past sins and move ahead. Hear, hear. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to deal with the IRS loses. And the first case up is a business deduction for family medical expenses. And I'm going to tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So please, don't go away. We'll be right back. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, yeah, here we are. My favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. You know, I keep saying it's my favorite part of the show. I'm kind of torn between this and those interesting but useless facts. You don't want to miss any of those. But, you know, this is really interesting to most people. Nobody wants to hear about the IRS winning. They all want to hear about them losing. So let's get right to it. In this first case, a business deduction for family medical expenses. Now, Ralph Fram was self-employed as the owner of a business with one employee, and that was his wife. He had it adopt an employee benefit plan providing medical insurance covering its employees and their families, including him as the spouse of an employee. Now, the IRS objected. They said the business could deduct only the part of the premiums covering his wife's medical expenses and not his. So he went to court to get some satisfaction here. Justice is what we ought to call it. And they said such medical coverage is a common business expense and is deductible by self-employeds the same way that it is by other businesses. The point here, greater tax benefits, such as reduced self-employment tax, may result from a business expense deduction for medical insurance than from the normal deduction for it. So that's why the IRS is objecting. They just want to have their cake and eat it too. Well, unfortunately, they took the cake right from your pantry, so think about that. Also, the IRS loses. Penalties are lifted on the misvaluation of stock. Here's the thing. When Hotels.com paid stock compensation to key employees, it put a high value on its shares for a large deduction, while the employees reported a lower value, reducing their taxable income. A court upheld the lower value, and the IRS imposed penalties on Hotels.com for overvaluing the stock and underpaying tax as a result. They went to court, and this is what the judge said. The fact that there was a dispute with the employees over the valuation did not mean that the company's valuation was unreasonable. It had followed the advice of outside experts when it filed its return, and failure to file an amended return cannot support a negligence penalty. So, the penalties are lifted. Gotta love that, right? Yeah, absolutely. How about this? The IRS loses. Tax collection actions after bankruptcy are void. Let me tell you about it. A company went broke owing trust fund employment taxes and declared bankruptcy. Its owner declared personal bankruptcy. The IRS then sent her a Form 2751, that's proposed assessment of trust fund recovery penalty, which she signed, acknowledging that she owed the tax. Now, using this, the IRS started collection and levy actions against her. She protested, went to court. This is what the judge said. A declaration of bankruptcy automatically stays all IRS collection actions, and the fact that the IRS sent the form violated the stay. Moreover, the violation means that the form is void. The IRS can never act on it, rather than merely voidable or suspended during the bankruptcy. Hear, hear, thank God. Every time the IRS oversteps its bounds and authority, they ought to get smacked right in the face just like this. Don't you think? Yeah, I think so too. Now, let's move along. Okay, this is the area we call inside the IRS, and you know what? I got to tell you, I like this as much as the other one. This is the one. It's not a court case so much, but they set a precedence here, and that's what I really like about it. And today, let's just go ahead and talk about that. Here's the thing: turning betting losses into business losses. Let me tell you all about it. You may not have to be a full-time professional gambler to get a tax break from gambling losses. In a recent tax court decision, James Castaneda, the tax court summary opinion, and that went back to 2006 to 2000-24, the court ruled that an individual could deduct losses from horse race betting as business losses. And how? Well, the taxpayer pursued the activity regularly and with continuity and operated in a business-like manner, essential for any business loss to be deductible. The taxpayer must prove a profit motive. As long as you continue to try something new to make a profit, it is hard for the IRS to argue that you lacked a profit motive. It may be possible to sustain a tax-deductible loss from casino activity if you keep very accurate records, visit casinos on a regular basis, and can establish via your records that you changed betting strategies in an effort to generate profits, even if you were not a professional gambler. So kind of keep that in mind. That's kind of interesting. Now, how about this? You haven't heard me talk about this before. What happens when you lend money to your employer? You ever think about it? Well, although it's not common, There are times when an employee will provide working capital to his or her employer. If the debt is not repaid, the loss will generally be treated as a short-term capital loss limited to an annual deduction of $3,000. Now, the better option, claim the loss as an itemized deduction called bad debt from employer on Schedule A if you can establish that the primary purpose of making the loan was to protect the payment of your salary. Now, take note, be aware that taking the deduction may trigger alternative minimum tax. You're going to be careful about that, so check with your financial advisor before you do any of that kind of stuff. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, guess what? We're going to be with my good buddy Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. I can't believe that he's going to be with us again today. I just love it when he's with us. And I think we're going to continue our conversation on GMOs and what the heck was it? And organic and non-organic food. So don't go away. We'll be right back with our own Sean LaFave in his Geared for Wellness Corner. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:33 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 86 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what? This next guy that's waiting in the wings, I just am crazy about him. He's got some great information for you when it comes to health care and when it comes to common sense. But more than that, I just have a lot of fun just having a dialogue with him. So I don't know if we're going to talk about GMOs or we're going to talk about organic or non-organic stuff, or we're just going to talk about current events. I have no idea, but whatever it is, don't go away because you're going to want to hear it. Let's get him in here. And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from his personal meditation lounge in Orange County, California, a professional dedicated to conquering many chronic conditions from autism to weight loss and everything in between. The nationally recognized wellness coach, consultant, and lecturer, Sean Lefebvre, in his Geared for Wellness Corner. Well, Sean, here we are. Is this day 3 for us this week? I can't believe it.
I know. It's pretty awesome. Day 3 it is.
Yeah, that's awesome stuff. That's fantastic.
So I had a great time at the play last night. It was a lot of fun. Party went really, really well. I found out that the seating capacity of that playhouse is 312.
Wow. It's really nice and intimate, huh?
Yeah, the cool thing about that is that there's no bad seat in the house. You know, it was great. But they did a live play version of the movie Footloose, and it was a lot of fun. We had a good time out there.
So is it a theater in the round, or is it a stage theater?
It's a stage theater.
Ah, that sounds really terrific. And so must have had a lot. You know, if you're talking about Footloose, there had to be some really talented performers there.
You know, there was. And it's funny. You know how you go to these plays, and of course they always have the lead or two leads. You know, in this case it was a male and female were the two leads, and they were really good. But they're to me they're kind of a second, I don't know what they call it, supporting actor and actress. To me, they were the two stars of the show as far as quality of singing and dancing, and
they just stole the show.
They were all really good, but to me, I thought the leads were really good. But there was these two others. They were really kind of their supporting roles that were, you know, the probably the second most up front, and they were, and this woman, she had such an amazing voice, and the guy that he played the kind of the redneck that was, you know, kind of not the most smart guy in the world. I can't remember what his name was in the role, but you know, when he started singing, I went, wow, this guy he did a great job of playing just a total country bumpkin redneck, you know, with about a 70 IQ. But when he sang, boy, I tell you what, you
sure it was that high?
What's that?
Are you sure it was that high?
It was, I was trying to be generous. But so I had a good time with the play, and of course what that means is that I missed the debate, and I was going to try to Google it, and I thought, you know what, I'm talking to Robert tomorrow, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to let him. So give you the scoop. I want to hear. I don't know if you've discussed it on air yet, but we'll let the listeners kind of get what Robert's take on last night, because you watched it, right?
Well, yeah, I did. I watched both of them, unfortunately, and
unfortunately, yeah, that's what I've been hearing a lot of that. People going, hey man, I guess there's a lot of people disappointed in Trump, and I've heard two prominent names, one from the first set and one from the second set. And I want to see if you're saying the same thing that I'm hearing.
Okay, you know, I dealt a little bit with this during the news section of the show, but I'll tell you, I watched the children's table or the children's hour at the beginning. It was a 2-hour debate, and then after that, I watched the 2-hour main debate, and then after that, I watched a 2-hour analysis of the debate. So, I mean, yesterday was just all politics for me, I think, pretty much. But I can tell you this. There was a shining star in that first debate, and the shining star is somebody who personally I don't really like very much, and that is Carly Fiorini.
That's the name I kept hearing over and over again. Everyone said Fiorini was just awesome in the first round.
She did a great job. She stood out. She really did a good job, and probably as a result of the job that she did, will wind up on the main stage on the next debate. I'm fairly certain. You know, she was really good. The rest of the people, you could understand why they were on that second second tier. You know, they're just putting you to sleep and going through the motions, and I'm not even sure that some of those will continue after yesterday. I guess they will, but you know, but then going into the first debate, I wasn't sure if the debate was the presidential debate or a debate between Donald Trump and Megyn Kelly. There was a lot of controversy going on, and they opened up the debate asking all of the presidential hopefuls to to swear that they would not, if they didn't win the nomination, that they wouldn't go to a third party and run against somebody else, and that they would support whoever won the nomination. Well, Donald Trump was the only one that would not raise his hand to do that, and they knew that was going to be the case. And he says, "Hey, look, I'm not shutting down any of my options. If I happen to if it's not me, and I like the person who's going to be chosen, then yeah, I'm going to support that person. But if I don't, then I'm going to do whatever I have to do. I think this country needs help, and I'm the guy that can do it. If there's somebody there that I think can do it too, then I'm going to support him."
God forbid he gave an honest answer. Man, we can't have that in politics.
Yep. Yeah, honest. Yeah, that's true. And so the thing comes down to, they were picking on, no question, they were picking on Donald Trump, trying to entrap him, and he just wasn't having any part of it. They asked him some really difficult, tough questions, and he hit the ball right out of the ballpark. He was just on it 100%. Then that Nimrod, Rand Paul, decided that he was going to try and castigate Trump. Trump ate him for breakfast. Just, that was the wrong guy for Rand Paul to pick on. And so that didn't work out too well.
I would if I ran Paul against Trump, I would pick Trump every single time.
Well, guess who the second guy was he went after? He went after Chris Christie. He was standing right next to him. You know what? This guy has not got his head turned on straight, because the last guy, here you got Rand Paul, who's an ophthalmologist, right? He thinks he's a really smart guy, and he's been in politics, and he's no longer there. And then all of a sudden, he goes after a guy who has been a federal prosecutor, for Pete's sake. He's an attorney. This is the last guy I want to be trying to smack around, And so Chris Christie really did really well yesterday too. But you know what?
I heard that.
My favorites, I would have to say, were Donald Trump and John Kasich. Kasich. Yeah. He really rose to the occasion. He was really good.
See, I heard Casey's name several times. I heard a lot more negative about Trump than I did positive, and which didn't really surprise me, because Donald Trump is just so straightforward. He's just, he's not going to play the political game. He's not going to be, like you said in the beginning, he's not going to stand up and go, "Oh, of course I'll support them," and play the party line. He's like, "No, I'm not going to play the party line. I'm going to do whatever's best for the country.
Yeah.
If you don't like it, then you're fired."
Well, you know why you heard some negatives about Trump, and he certainly doesn't need defense by me. But the reason you heard negatives is, remember that Donald Trump was in a presidential debate for the GOP, and it was the hard and fast GOP members and guys, the supporters that were actually in that 20,000 seat auditorium, and Donald Trump is set himself aside from that business as usual, and so that's what you get. And the other thing you get is the media is trying to castigate Donald Trump, and Donald Trump is taking the high ground and beating the living daylights out of the media, and so that's why you're hearing bad things, because they're trying to destroy this guy's bid, and all they're really doing is raising him higher and higher in the polls.
Yep, none of that surprised me. That's kind of exactly what I expected to happen out of this. Was I expected people to try to beat Donald Trump down and him stand his ground firm and not bend or yield or give a party line. And again, that's what I really like about him.
Yeah. Megyn Kelly asked Donald Trump, she says, "Well, Mr. Trump, it appears, we've done some research, and you actually have gone bankrupt 4 times. And he says, "No, I've never been bankrupt, not personally. Now, I own hundreds of companies, and I employ thousands of people. And out of all the years I've been in business, I have used the bankruptcy laws for 4 of those companies. But you know what? I'm a businessman, and that's what you do. And I did that to get the cooperations from the banks, and I did. And let me tell you something. Those banks aren't good guys. They aren't nice guys. You do what you got to do. And that's why I should be president, because I know how to do what I've got to do."
And that's a great point that he made. I've used it for 4 companies, and he's had, even if you say over 100, I don't know if it's hundreds or just over 100 or whatever. Was it hundreds in the plural?
Yeah.
Okay, so hundreds. How many companies in this? What is the percentage of companies in this nation that go bankrupt?
Oh yeah.
It's certainly got to be bigger than a single-digit percentage.
Yeah.
If you said 4 out of 3 or 400, that's, what is that, 1-2% of his companies went bankrupt? That's a whole lot better than the national average. The guy's doing pretty damn good, but they don't want to look at it that way. They want to go, "Oh, you filed bankruptcy before." Well, no, yeah, one of my companies did, but
he said what he said. He said, "Hey, I didn't break any laws. I used the laws to my benefit. You know what? There are a lot of people that don't know how to do that, but I'm a good businessman. I do know how to do that, and I came out of it smelling like a rose. You know, the other thing Megyn Kelly said was that he was castigating women. He was just treating them wrongly, and he interrupted her and says, "Only Rosie O'Donnell."
Yeah. Well, she deserved it, that's for sure.
And people chuckled. Yeah, so he did a great job. He's the unequivocal winner of the debate, no question about it. And that's what all the polls said today. And Carly Fiorina was also the winner of the previous debate.
So the general consensus is that Trump won.
Oh yeah, by a huge margin.
Oh, okay, because I that's not what I heard. I was looking at what people were saying on Facebook and what I had friends. And I didn't look at anything official yet. That's why I was like, I'll just wait until I talk to Robert.
Oh yeah.
I heard several people say they really liked what Marco Rubio had to say.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
I don't know.
Say it again. You kind of got garbled on me.
Oh, I've heard several people say they really enjoyed what Marco Rubio had to say.
What? Who?
You there? Robert?
Yeah, I'm not understanding the word. You're coming in a little garbled to me. Say Michael who?
I don't know why. Marco Rubio.
Oh, Marco Rubio. You know what? A lot of people liked what Marco Rubio had to say, and Marco Rubio actually did look presidential. He did a good job. He didn't stumble over anything. But, a number of those guys were just repeating their talking points from previous things that they were doing, and Marco Rubio was doing the same thing. But you know what? He made some good points, and he didn't embarrass himself. He did well, and I think he'll move along. And I don't think he'll be the presidential nominee, but I don't think he expects to be. I think he's in this one. This is sort of like his training wheels, In 4 years from now, he'll do it again, but in 12 years, then I think he'll do it for real, and I think he'll be a real contender. Yeah,
I agree with you on that. I really like Marco Rubio. Matter of fact, I followed one of those. Remember when everyone made fun of him because he took a sip of water after the presidential State of the Union address?
Yeah.
And of course, he turned it into a big fun thing, and he started selling these water bottles with his name. And I actually bought one because I was like, you know what, I like this guy, and I really do like him. And I agree with you. I don't know that he's presidential material right now, but I think in a couple of election terms, he very well will be. Well, we're going to go on a break. When we come back, I am going to get back on GMOs some more. I came up with a really fun little analogy as I was sitting in my Jeep earlier today of why GMOs just don't work with human beings right now. So we're going to talk about that as soon as we come back.
Well, that's going to be, that's interesting. And so, and I'm going to have lots of questions. I hope you don't mind. And we'll be right back with our own Sean Lefebvre and his Geared for Wellness Corner. We're going to talk about GMOs. That's genetically modified organisms that go into our food. You got to ask yourself why. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to find out why right after these brief messages. So don't go away. You'll be sorry. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. Aho Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Sean LaFay with his Geared for Wellness corner, and we're going to talk about GMOs, that's genetically modified organisms, and you know why they're bad for you. So, Sean, you've got the microphone, buddy.
Well, you know, I'm to kind of bounce off of what we just got done talking about. One of my issues that I always look at when it comes to any presidential candidate is really what their stance is on GMOs and healthcare in general and you know, vaccinations and really Donald, again, as much as there's other things that I like about him, Donald Trump seems to be more in line with my philosophy on how we should label foods, how we should produce food, and how we should have, you know, the right to choose on vaccinations and those kind of things. And so for that reason alone, I really like Donald Trump. But all the other stuff that we talked about as well, he's just a great guy. But so for me, that's a big thing. And, you know, again, GMOs, a GMO is a genetically modified organism. So we've taken this food and we've genetically modified it, and we've changed the structure of it. And when we talk about Monsanto, I know you talked about this yesterday, was you know, what's in it for them to genetically modify food? Well, of course, they're going to be able to make a food that is resistant to the effects of their pesticides, so they can spray more of it on there, kill more weeds more easily, and of course they're going to sell more of the pesticides.
Yeah, and so all those foods are going to absorb that stuff, and they're going to feed it to us, right?
Right, exactly. So now we're eating foods that, one, have genetically been, their structure has been changed. Get the pitchforks out. You know, and that's exactly it. You know, it's food that is genetically, structurally different, and of course on top of it now it's laced with pesticides. And you know, some of these pesticides, and I'm going to get to my analogy here in just a second. These pesticides, when I use the word pesticide, it can mean anything that's sprayed on a crop that is designed to kill something that would otherwise prevent that crop from growing.
So it could be a weed, it could be a bug, it could be a bird, it could be anything that prevents the crop from...
It could be weeds, too. It can be plants. So when we say, most people will say herbicide, you know, because we know that herbicide is meant to kill plants, but a pesticide, we think bugs and other, you know, even birds. But you know, but a pesticide in general, when you say pesticide, you also mean herbicides and other things like that. Mm-hmm. But some of these pesticides, the way they work is there's actually a lot of them are a two-phase application. It's all mixed together. But one part of it, what it does is it shuts down the central nervous system of the insect, so that the insect is unable to function. It's actually literally shuts down its central nervous system.
So like it paralyzes them?
I'm sorry, like what?
It paralyzes them?
So it paralyzes them. But the problem is it paralyzes them, but it doesn't kill them, not right away. And eventually the bug can actually get to the point where it cleanses itself and comes back around to where it's not paralyzed anymore. So what they've done is they've added a second chemical in there that prevents that insect from having the ability to detox itself. So now it's got a neurotoxin that prevents the nervous system from working right to shut down the body.
Well, you know what that sounds like, right? When they use injections for capital punishment, the first part of the injection is to paralyze the condemned person, and that's the second one that kills them. It sounds like it's the same thing with these bugs.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it works. The second one shuts down the detox pathways so that they die from the first chemical. Yeah. And I mean, it's scary stuff to think about. It's okay, great. If all it worked on was bugs, that would be awesome. But the problem is it works on more than just bugs. And people go, oh, well, it's just a little, it's just a tiny bit that you get whenever you eat that apple or that corn or whatever. Well, a little tiny bits of things bioaccumulate and they add up in your body over time. And so it's really, when you think about what we're putting in our bodies due to these genetically modified organisms, these GMO crops, it's really scary. And, so I was just sitting there, it was funny, I was sitting in my Jeep, and I just filled up with gas, and I looked at my gas gauge, and I was really happy because it was all the way up on the letter F. I finally got an F for once in my life, and I was happy about it. And I'm looking at this, and for whatever reason, I have no idea why this came to my mind. The thought of when we used leaded gasoline came to mind. And I've owned vehicles that were built to run on leaded gasoline. And I remember when they took lead out of gasoline, and anyone who was around long enough to remember that remembers that if you had a car that used leaded gasoline, you had to put lead additive you had to put some sort of an additive, because what the lead was in the gasoline for was it actually act as a lubricant so that the pistons wouldn't wear out and wouldn't tear up the cylinders. And I think even maybe the valves, I can't remember exactly, but I knew it was for sure the pistons and the cylinders. It actually acted as a lubricant for the internal workings of the combustion chambers. And when they took the lead out, the cars that were built to use leaded gasoline would break down rapidly if you just poured unleaded gasoline in there. So we had to make vehicles now that were able to use unleaded gasoline. They had their own type of lubrication system built in, or they were more efficient or whatever. And really, when I stopped and thought about it, I thought, you know what, that's exactly what GMOs are like. It's like taking a car that's built for leaded gasoline and putting unleaded gasoline on it. It's going to wear out faster, and that's exactly what's happening in our body. We can still run off of these genetically modified foods, but we just aren't going to be able to run as long or as efficiently.
Okay, so that brings up a real interesting scenario, Sean, and that is that, and I don't even know if there's a study out there. There certainly should be. If there's not, there's got to be some reason that all of these other countries, with the exception of this free country we live in, has banned GMOs. The thing is that why isn't there a study that shows, hey, you know what? If you eat the food that is created through GMOs, you are shortening your lifespan by 10, 15, 20 years. Because your internal organs can't function on it as well, and they just sort of wear out.
Yeah, I think that a study like that, I mean, you said, it's going to be, if it's going to shorten your life by 10 or 15 years, well, they haven't been around long enough for us to know if it's going to shorten your lifespan, or what we would have to have a mass study where we took, literally tens of thousands of people and gave them GMOs, and another group, and they all get organic or at least non-GMO food, and then you got to go, well, do they want the ones that are sprayed with pesticides, or do they want the organic ones, and so it's really, to do a study like that would be such a huge, massive undertaking that I don't even know.
Well, yeah, but wouldn't it be warranted, since we're talking about human beings here? And the other thing is, you said they haven't been around that long. How long have GMOs been around, Sean?
I don't know exactly how long GMOs. I know GMOs have been around for at least 20 years, but the widespread use of them has really taken off, probably around the turn of the millennium. So it's probably somewhere, at least 10, 15 years ago. But now it's just grown and grown and grown, and all of a sudden we're realizing what we're doing. And it is. I looked at the numbers just to be sure. There are over 60 countries right now that have at least some sort of legal requirement for GMO labeling at some level, if not complete GMO labeling, or a ban on GMO. So it's 60 countries in the United States, and of course, I mean, it's countries in the world, and of course, the United States is not one of them. And in fact, not only do they not require any GMO labeling at all, it is actually now illegal. It's outlawed.
Well, you know what the interesting part of that really is, if you start thinking about it? The United States has this huge organization that's supposed to be protecting the citizenry of our country. It's called the FDA, the Federal Food and Drug Administration.
Food and Drug Administration, yeah.
And they're not doing anything.
No, they're not. Matter of fact, what they're probably doing more than anything is they're probably hiding data. We've seen it done with the CDC.
Well, where the heck is Ralph Nader when you need him?
Yeah, I know exactly. We need another Ralph Nader. We need a Ralph Nader, and we need a Aaron Brockovich. You know, we need people like that out there. And there are times that I look at this and I go, I just want to stand up, and I want to. But you got to wonder, like, how is it that it's gotten by so many times? And I know there have been people who have taken this to Congress. I watched them. I used to be one of these dorky guys that watched C-SPAN, and I don't watch C-SPAN anymore because I just don't watch TV at all. I can't stand watching the news. I get so angry. I watch the news and I'm like, oh my God, what are we doing? So, it's bad enough, reading articles about, all the GMO stuff and all the, medications and all the, the problems with our healthcare system and people getting sicker and sicker. And that just drives me crazy. And it makes me, wonder, why we're so, why we're just putting ourselves in this position where we just seem so doomed. But if I turn on the news, Rob, it just puts me in a spiral. And I used to watch C-SPAN all the time. I don't watch that anymore.
Have you ever seen the, old news that was printed, the old news from the newspapers, the local papers and things like that? They were talking about births and birthdays and anniversaries, and they were talking about good and happy things and letting everybody know what was going on in their community. And now it's just travesty. As a matter of fact, it just came up now that Holmes, the James Holmes, that was the theater killer in Colorado. The jury couldn't come up with a death penalty, so they gave him life in prison. So just about that. The other thing is, did you know where the name news came from?
Back, we talking about like now or
no? The word news actually is an abbreviation. It's for north, east, west, and south, which means everywhere. And so it's just the first letter abbreviation of the coordinates of the compass.
I had no idea. Never even gave it a thought.
I'm full of interesting and useless information.
I like it. I'm going to be using that one a lot. I'm going to go around. People are going to be like, man, Sean is so smart. Like, well, that's because I'm on the Robert Cardoza life.
So, here's the thing. At what point do we become so depressed over GMOs and the fact that we haven't got any control over it? We have literally no control. And this huge government that we've got going on is doing absolutely nothing to protect the people, which is the job that it's supposed to do. Why on earth do we even have the FDA if they're not going to be protecting us?
I don't know. I think maybe the FDA is a lot like most unions out there that at one point it probably had a really good role. But
well, you know what? Let's go off on another tangent real quick. Here's the thing. We have people that are just terminally ill and suffering horribly, and there are modalities out there that are used in other countries that are giving, if not cures, relief to these kinds of people, these suffering people, and yet we can't get that approved from the FDA to let these people at least finalize their lives with some peace and comfort and painless.
Yeah, and I, for the life of me, I wish I had an answer for that, and I don't, and it kills me. You're right. There are countries that their people are going on medical vacations nowadays. It's cheaper for you to go to Central America or India or even Europe and get your medical procedure done and go stay in a 5-star hospital at the same time just to do it here in the U.S. And And, maybe we can talk about that a little bit more when we come back on next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think that would be terrific.
Next Tuesday.
I'm sorry?
We're going to be together for an hour next Tuesday, right?
I can't hardly wait. I think it's going to be fantastic.
I'm excited about it. Excited.
Oh, I am too. I think we're gonna test some new formats and things, and you and I may sit down and talk about a new format for this show.
That sounds awesome.
All right, my friend. Hey, listen, you have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay happy. I'm sorry you didn't have the martini, but you know what? It sounded like you did good anyway.
Absolutely, I did. Robert, I had a lot of fun today. I look forward to seeing you on Tuesday.
All right, buddy, you take care. Now, do not go away, because coming up right after these brief messages is our own David Garrett on the law. Let's see what he comes up with today. You know what? God only knows what David and I know one thing I'm going to talk about. I saw a picture of him on Facebook holding fish. This guy, I mean, these were big fish. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So don't go away. We'll be talking to David Garrett on the law right after these brief messages. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:08 p.m. Pacific time, currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. That's down from 91 degrees on its way to 59. That's the one I'm waiting for. But you know what? Waiting in the wings is our own professional, unequivocally the best yellowfin tuna catcher in the entire, I was going to say world, but let's just make it Southern California so he doesn't get too big ahead. Let's get him in here, our own prosecutor on the law, David Garrett. Let's get him here.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you from the bowels of the Hall of Justice, our own legal guru, David Garrett, attorney at law. All right, so I know that you were tremendously successful last weekend. You were so proud of it, you actually sent pictures out over Facebook and over the social media.
Yeah, I'll tell you. After an introduction like that, I don't know what to say. I just wish I was that great.
Well, you know what? If you go fishing every weekend and you catch fish like that, you might as well just retire because you're never going to have to worry about how you get food. You could have magnificent fresh fish every night.
Well, yeah, I tell you, that was a great day fishing, and I did a good job of filling up the freezer.
I'll bet. I mean, those were big.
Yeah, they were in the 20 to 30 pound range, and I'll tell you, those yellow fin tuna, they fight.
I was going to ask you, do they
feel
fight?
like you're tugging on something?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, is it's not something that you just feel them nibble on the hook and you bring them in. You got to work to get them in, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. I tell you, we had one funny event on the boat. It was this dad and his son are fishing, and they both hooked up yellowfin at the same time. Son's probably 40 and dad probably in his 70s someplace. Well, dad's sitting there reeling it in, gets it almost to the boat, and he's got one of those older style spin casting reels, and this reel just explodes.
Oh, jeez, falls apart.
Yeah, the drag let loose, and you got a fishing line all over the place, all spun up in these balls and everything, and they tried bringing the thing in by hand, and that didn't work too well.
No.
The fish just turned and snapped, and it was gone. But yeah, those fish are bruisers.
Wow.
They really are.
So when you hooked into one, how long before you can actually get it on? Is it a 10, 15-minute fight or longer?
I think that's a good range, 10 to 15 minutes. Yeah.
That's got to be a lot of fun.
It was just a blast. I mean, we had a very good day fishing that day. We did both those. You saw the smaller ones. Those are yellowtail. It's not really a tuna, but a jackfish.
Oh, I thought that they were. I thought yellowtail were tuna. So do they not have it? What do they taste like?
They got I say they're close to tuna.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're close that way. It's just a different species of fish. But they're both really good fish. And
how far out
tuna,
do you go,
they
David?
Drag you down. What's that?
How far out do you go?
This time we were about around 18 miles out.
So out toward Catalina Island or south of that, or?
Yeah, out towards Catalina, just a little south. This has just been an amazing year for fishing in Southern California. They've been catching, close to 200-pound bluefin tuna within 15, 20 miles offshore.
Now, bluefin, isn't that the one that they use for sushi and for and that kind of stuff?
Yeah. They use both that, the yellowfin and the yellowtail.
And then I saw that you caught 3, so is that your limit for the day?
No. It was, frankly, I was wore out, and if I didn't catch another one, I was fine with that.
So you can catch more than 3?
Yeah, you can. I think the limit's 5 on it. I'm not exactly sure what it is now, but, most of the time you get one, you're really happy about it.
Yeah. Oh, really? Well, no wonder you were exhausted. You were expecting now, is this a half-day boat or a whole-day boat?
This was a full day. It was 5:30 to 5:30.
So you gotta figure 12 hours on a boat trying to go fishing. If you just catch one fish, that's got to be a little disappointing, right?
Well, unless you get one of those fish, and then you're just happy as a clam. I've done some of those boats where I've sat there for the 12 hours and not caught anything, and That's just a very long boat ride. That's the only description of it.
Yeah.
So,
now, are the seas pretty calm out there, or do you hit rough seas as well? Do you go out no matter what the weather is, or do you have some qualifications on whether or not you're going to go out there?
I'll go out on anything the boat will go out on. But, if you're susceptible to seasickness, I would pick a calm day. The day we were out there, it was pretty calm. I've been on other occasions when it's, the swells are 3 to 5 feet and you got people rocking and hanging their head over the side on a regular basis.
So have you ever been fishing where a marlin fishing or sail fishing or anything like that?
No, I haven't. That's on my bucket list. That's one of those things I want to do. They're actually catching marlin just north of San Diego out there right now.
Oh, really?
So,
now, is that just a sports fish to catch, or can you actually eat that?
I'm told that you can eat it. Everybody I've talked to has said it's not worth it, that it's more of just a sport fish for the fun of catching it.
Yeah.
The swordfish on the other side, if you get those, I happen to like swordfish. I think it's pretty good.
Now, are swordfish and sailfish the same thing?
No, they're different. Oh. The dorsal fin on the sailfish is different.
Wow. Well, it sounds to me like it's not just the fish that have been hooked. You've been hooked too, huh?
Oh, I have been. I'm diehard.
So, listen, we've got about, what have we got here? About 4 minutes before we have to go on a commercial break. And you want to set us up for what you're going to talk about in the next segment?
Sure. Yeah, I've got 2 things to cover. One is people visiting New York City with their handguns and kind of the ramifications of that. Mm-hmm. And then the other is, there are moves out there about what to do about going to the theater, in the movie theater. And some of the, just
well,
what
we ought
we
to deal with that
world?
First. You saw where James Holmes got a life sentence today, right, instead of the death sentence?
Yeah.
And I don't understand, and we ought to talk about that, well, we'll talk about it now. I don't understand how a jury couldn't come to grips with this thing.
It's tough. I suspect the guy was just nutty enough that they didn't feel comfortable giving him the death penalty.
Yeah. If they believed that he was mentally disturbed, mentally incapacitated, I suppose that the humane thing to do would be to give him a life sentence or to have him in court. Now, is he going to prison or is he going to a mental institution?
I believe he's going to prison. Yeah.
Because the judge said. Because the judge said he was competent. Otherwise they wouldn't have done anything. They'd have just put him into a mental institution until they could have tried him, right?
Right. Yeah, they'd have just kept him there till he was capable of participating in his own defense. But from what I'd read, it looked like there were certain members on the jury that wanted death penalties and others that didn't. And since they didn't come to a 12-juror and unanimous verdict, but it defaulted to life in prison.
Let me ask you this, because you made the comment about the phrase he couldn't participate in his own defense. Isn't that what how many defendants actually participate in their own defense? The attorneys are the ones that are usually doing that. What participation does a defendant do other than to hope and pray that he's got a good enough attorney to get him off?
Well, the theory is they got to be well enough to communicate with the attorney, provide him facts and evidence to, be able to prepare the defense. And then the second part of it is they got to kind of understand what's going on.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I've had not a lot of these, but I've had a few cases where the individual I was representing didn't understand what was going on. That's kind of scary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't want to take undue advantage of somebody like that. I understand that. All right, listen, when we come back, we'll be talking some more to our own David Garrett on the... Matter of fact, David, give your contact information now. We got 20 seconds.
Oh, sure. Our phone number is area code 909-945-5000, and the website is www.lawbbg.com.
And we're talking to our own David Garrett on the law. We'll be right back talking about, should you or can you, how do you, and why would you, and what can happen if you do take a gun to New York City. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own David Garrett on the law. Hey, David, you've got the microphone. You wanted to talk about guns in New York City, or I guess New York State.
Yes, definitely. You remember that guy he was a Marine who went down to, he was driving around in San Diego.
Oh, yeah.
He takes the wrong freeway on-ramp, winds over in Mexico. And I think he got detained there for something between 8 months and a year.
Yeah, I remember him vividly.
Yeah, he eventually gets released, but the fact of the matter is you don't have to go to Mexico to find yourself in these kind of problems. All you have to do is go visit New York City.
Is New York, and I know you're going to talk about it, but is New York the only state that you're going to describe that does what you describe?
No, there's others. In fact, I think it can happen depending on where your state of origination is. In any state where you have a more restrictive gun control legislation.
Okay, so I'm going to let you tell the story before I start asking questions.
Yes, sure. Yeah, there's this lady, her name's Elizabeth Elderly, and she is a Marine, 31 years old, and she's a resident of Texas, where she has a concealed weapons permit. She can carry guns with her, and she never leaves her home unarmed. So she goes on vacation, takes off to New York City, and wants to go visit the 9/11 memorial. When she gets to the memorial, she had her guns, again, consistent with her idea of never leaving home unarmed. She has a 9mm and a .380 caliber semi-automatic, both handguns. They're covered by the Texas concealed weapons permit. She's got them hidden in her backpack. And as she approaches the entrance to the memorial, she sees a sign that says, "No firearms." Learning that, she declares the weapons to the officers or security at the checkpoint, and promptly gets arrested for violating the New York gun laws. She's looking at between 3.5 to 15 years in prison.
Holy cow!
Charged on a felony.
So, so apparently, states do not recognize the interstate use of concealed weapon permits that are issued by other states.
That's exactly it. You talk about the Second Amendment right to bear arms. Well, that's kind of a floating definition as you go across the country.
So what about police officers that are moving from one jurisdiction to another? You see on television, the guys from L.A. go to New York to pick up somebody who's been extradited, bringing them back to Los Angeles. They're carrying their gun. Are they breaking the law?
Well, no, because most states will have exceptions in there allowed to carry by police officers or those, in a law enforcement position. It's the ordinary citizen that's going to find themselves running in afoul of some of these laws. And, the odd thing is some states will recognize other states' concealed weapon permits, and others don't. In the case of New York, they don't recognize anybody's concealed weapon permit.
So is it against the law to hunt in New York, or can you still take rifles, and do they still have shooting ranges and stuff like that? How do people accommodate this?
Oh, I'm sure they can do that. I didn't specifically look at that, but this kind of boiled down to both these guns would have been pistols, and she has them in her backpack, concealed, obviously.
Yeah.
And New York City itself is an area where, carrying a pistol is just a no-no.
So it's a zero tolerance to have any kind of weapon, well, at least firearm, in New York City, unless you're a police officer or somebody who has a New York permit.
Yeah, for the pistols precisely. I didn't look specifically at the rifles, but by and large, you're not going to get a permit in New York City to run around with a concealed handgun. And it's not just New York. There's another lady there that Elizabeth Griffith of Daytona Beach has a right to carry a weapon, and she tries to get on a ferry in Jersey City, New Jersey. She gets caught with that. she's facing up to 10 years in prison.
Holy cow.
Yeah. And then there was another guy, a 28-year-old Marine, Ryan Jerome. He has an Indiana registered handgun that he's carrying, tries to get into the New York, or the Empire State Building in New York City, and he got cited with a felony. Ultimately, the felony got reduced and to a misdemeanor, but he still ends up with a criminal record. You know, and as you go through this, in the case of Elizabeth, she had done some checking on the internet and apparently come across faulty information that said her handgun permit was okay in New York City.
So now, if she could verify that, even though it wasn't accurate, but if she could verify that, wouldn't a judge throw that out and say, hey, wait a minute, she's done a due diligence, she was under the impression, she looked it up, and she thought it was okay, or they hold her to a higher standard?
They could end up holding her to a higher standard. I hopefully what will happen in her case is you'll have the prosecutor, you know, the district attorney, and they have discretion to, you know, to what extent they pursue and prosecute certain crimes. And I would like to think that the district attorney would take into account that in her case she'd done everything reasonable to comply with the law. She just got bad information off the internet, and then make a decision whether or not to even prosecute her. But from a strict letter of the law, she would have been guilty of the crime.
Well, you
even
know
though
what?
she had no criminal
There is a
intent.
part of me that says, you know what? Why does anybody need to take a weapon across the country?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I mean, that's another. I mean, I have compassion for this woman, although I've got a question. You know, is she a half a bubble off level for wanting to have a concealed weapon? Although I've spent a lot of time in New York City, and there's many times that I wish I had one.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's there's parts of that city that are not so pleasant. And, you know, I'm not going to say the 9/11 memorial would be a bad place. I mean, I can't figure out why you would arm yourself to go into the memorial, but I don't know. It's kind of a bad situation to find yourself in, you know.
Well, you know, in her particular case, though, you would think she would not have even approached the memorial. She would have never even declared the weapon. She'd have turned around and gone the other way if she hadn't done the research that said, hey, this is okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She could have left her guns in the motel.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why, you know, looking at it from a devil advocate point of view, why you need to go through all the hassle of flying around with your guns and all the nonsense that TSA puts you through just because you're on vacation. I guess she felt that was the right thing to do.
Well, you would have thought that somebody at TSA would have said, hey, you know, lady, this isn't going to work out good for you over there. If you're not a member of law enforcement, or if you don't have some official reason for being there with this, you'd think somebody, you know, she had to declare a gun before she got on the plane.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they just, you know, it's kind of like traveler beware.
Yeah. God.
You know, and the real moral of all these stories is, you know, if you're going to travel and you're going to take a gun with you, you probably ought to make sure, you know, what laws are in effect in the state you're going to.
Yeah, but obviously that doesn't work because this woman did that, right?
Well, she got it on the internet. I don't know.
I suppose, what do you do? Go to I don't know, does the district attorney have a website? I guess you go to the attorney general's website, right?
Yeah, you can do that. Something that has .gov in its domain address, and rather than a lot of these other sites you see out there.
Which is a better defense too, right?
Say that again?
Which would be a better defense too. They didn't just go to some old website. They went to a government website, a local government.
That was where you should go to. I don't think she went there. I think she just checked it on the internet. And, and sometimes relying on information off the internet is, what was the old Latin caveat emptor, buyer beware?
Oh, yeah. It's amazing some of the, everybody looks at the internet as the final word these days. And the truth is there's a lot of misinformation on the internet. And a person has got to be really careful. You can look up and find just about anything you want on any position you want if you look hard enough, which means that you could also find something that has an alternative position.
Oh, easily. I mean, you get those guys that are, like you say, a little bit off level, and sometimes they're the most vocal posters on the internet. Yeah. And last time I used Google, it didn't have a arrow that said "idiot posting" next to it.
Yeah.
Maybe we should suggest that to Google.
Yeah, I think, you know what? Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing some of the stuff that goes on, but there's a part of me that feels bad for this lady. There's a part of me that says, "Gee whiz, isn't that an abuse of power over there for such what appears to be such an innocent thing going on?" On the other hand, the woman, why take multiple weapons across the country like that? And what are you going to do with them? And why are you carrying them with you? Who do you plan on shooting? And if you're afraid to go to New York City because all the crooks got guns and knives and all this stuff, then don't go.
Yeah, exactly. I'm kind of right where you are. I don't think she did anything criminal that should land her into jail. I'm kind of ambivalent about whether she gets prosecuted for anything. Mm-hmm. But I just want to look her in the eyes and say, what on earth were you thinking?
No, she wasn't. She wasn't thinking.
So, but that was my little gem of legal stuff for today. Just, during the holidays, some people travel, some people take their guns. I mean, find out what the laws are where you're at.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And my guess is that what takes this over the mark, it's the straw that broke the camel's back, is the fact that it was a concealed weapon.
Yes. Yeah, that's that's what gets her in trouble, and particularly the fact that it was a pistol in an area of New York City where basically pistols are, just persona non grata.
Yeah. All right, my friend, are you going fishing tomorrow?
I'm thinking about it. I got enough tuna right now, so I'm thinking of going after bass again.
Well, go after bass, my friend. Get yourself a variety. That's what you got to do.
There you go.
All right. So listen, you stay safe, stay healthy. Give out your contact information real quick before you go.
Again, our number is 909-945-5000. It's Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett, and the website is www.lawbbg.com.
Okay, my friend, have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, stay sane, and we'll talk to you next week.
You too, Bob. Have a good one.
You too. Now, do not go away, because after these brief messages, we're going to be dealing with the birthdays for today. The secret daily teaching for your life. Got a magnificent one today. The Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. So we'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away. If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:41 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, you know what today is, right? Yeah, it's August the 7th, and it's actually somebody's birthday. And August the 7th, today is the birthday of Alberto Salazar. He was born in 1958. He was an American marathon runner of the 1980s. He was born in Cuba. Salazar immigrated to the United States with his family. Here's somebody that a lot of you know, maybe a lot of you don't know. He was really, really popular not that awful long ago. He was born in 1960, a two-time Golden Globe Award-winning actor, best known for his roles as Special Agent Fox Mulder on The X-Files. Happy birthday, David Duchovny. And here's a lady, just beautiful woman, born in 1975, a South African American actress. Happy birthday to Charlize Theron. Boy, she's a pretty lady. And August the 7th, 1974, Philippe Petit performed a high-wire act between the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. It was 1,368 feet in the air. And in 1978, United States President Jimmy Carter declares a federal emergency at the Love Canal. And then finally, in 2007, Barry Bonds of the San Francisco Giants breaks baseball's great Hank Aaron's record by hitting his 756th home run. Well, the quote for today comes from Walt Whitman, and Walt says, "I have learned that to be with those I like is enough." Boy, now that's a profound statement. Isn't that the truth? Well, let's talk about that secret daily teaching for your life. Remember, I've always said it, this is all about a positive mental attitude, and that's what it's about today. Let me give you today's secret. Everything is first worked out in the unseen before it is manifested in the seen, in the ideal before it is realized in the real, in the spiritual before it shows forth in the material. The realm of the unseen is the realm of cause. The realm of the seen is the realm of effect. Now, the unseen is the invisible, or the invisible cannot be detected by our senses, but that doesn't mean it does not exist. The invisible or the unseen is where all creation comes from. Your thoughts are invisible. Your feelings are invisible. Your beliefs are invisible. To understand how all creation comes from the invisible, take a look at anything created by a human being, and you'll find out, without exception, that it began in the invisible with a thought. Thoughts are cause, and our material world is the effect. That is the secret teaching for today. It's all about a positive mental attitude. Keep that in mind. You'll be glad you did. I promise you that. Well, let's talk about interesting but useless facts. Right up off the bat, did you know that NASCAR, the NASCAR teams use nitrogen in their tires instead of air? Yeah, it's more stable, doesn't leak out. You know, that's what they use. Matter of fact, a lot of new cars today use nitrogen instead of regular air. How about this? Did you know that 10% of the Russian government's income comes from the sale of vodka? Yep. Boy, that country, they make good vodka. I'll give them that. Did you know that according to the Population Council, people overwhelmingly tend to marry partners who live near them? It's not a bi-coastal thing, unless you happen to be some kind of celebrity, right? I guess. Did you know that, let's see here, I've got to pay attention to what I'm doing. And yeah, we're in good shape. There are twice as many kangaroos in Australia as there are people. Now, the kangaroo population is estimated at 40 million. Now, that gives you an idea. There's only 20 million people in Australia. Isn't that interesting? And yet it's the size of the United States, as far as landmass. You know that there are no words in the dictionary that rhyme with orange, purple, and silver. Work it out. Well, you know what the zip code is for Smokey the Bear? He's got his own zip code. It's 20252. 20252 is the zip code for Smokey the Bear. And although identified with Scotland, bagpipes are actually a very ancient instrument introduced into the British Isles by the Romans. That's interesting. Let's see here. How about, more than 100 pizza box related patents have been issued since 1976. Can you imagine? You have to put a patent on a pizza box? How about this? Matter of fact, you know what? I've had pizza from different places. The boxes, I have never really noticed any big difference in them. You know, the world camel population is 19,627,000. Can you imagine going out there having to count all those? Yeah, well, we'll leave it at that, right? Sure. How about this? In the year 2000, Pope John Paul II was named an honorary Harlem Globetrotter. Now, I would have loved to have seen him dribbling that ball around some of them guys. That probably would have done a good job. Raindrops aren't actually teardrop shaped. They're rounded at the top and pointed on the bottom. That's interesting, right? Sure. A healthy non-colorblind human, a healthy non-colorblind human eye can distinguish between 500 shades of gray. Wow. I guess, is that colorblind? No, it's not colorblind. Did you know that in Idaho, walking along the street with a red-tipped cane is strictly prohibited, even for the blind? And finally, a group of hares is called a hoose. Now, you know what a hare is, right? Yeah, It's a rabbit. I'll leave you with one more. The animal with the largest brain in proportion to its size? The ant. Yeah, you got that. Now, don't go away, because when we come back, I'm going to deal with your answering your emails. First one comes from Faith Cagney from Parlier, California, asking about an audit redo. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages, so don't go away. Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show. And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 5:52 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 84 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, we're coming down to the wire, and it's time for me to give you that disclaimer again, and that is that we're going to be answering your emails. But basically, the answers are only as good as the data you put in there, and sometimes that's just a little sketchy. So we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional before you go out and do anything. They're going to save you more money than they cost you, and they're going to give you some peace of mind and let you sleep at night. because as one of the conditions of their licensing is they have to have errors and omissions insurance, which means if they make a mistake, they pay the piper, not you. That ought to make you feel better. Now, let's get right into our emails. First one comes from Faith Cagney from Paulier, California, asking about an audit redo and says, I just came through an IRS audit that resulted in a no change to my tax bill, and now I've already received another audit notice. This doesn't seem right. Is there any way to stop repeat audits like this? Well, Faith, the tax code section 7605 says that the IRS cannot audit the same year twice unless it has a specific reason for doing so, such as new information indicating a possible tax liability that it lacked at the time of the first audit. Now, similarly, the IRS's own rules say it will not audit an item on a return if the same item was audited on a return filed for either of the 2 prior years with a no change result. Again, unless it has a specific reason for doing so. Now, your letter doesn't say whether you fit either one of these situations, but if you do, you can call the IRS and ask it to discontinue that new audit, and they will. So hopefully that answers your question and it helps you. Next email comes from Gannon Gallagher from Belfast, Maine, asking about tax withholding and says, I'm still working while my spouse is retiring and about to start receiving both a pension and Social Security benefits. It seems complicated to arrange separate tax withholding from both of them. Can I simply withhold the tax due on my spouse's retirement income from my own pay? Well, Gannon, yeah, you can. If you file a joint return with your spouse, just file a new Form W-4 with your employer that elects to withhold sufficient tax from your pay to cover your joint tax liability. Now, wage withholding also can cover tax liabilities arising from other sources, such as investment income, if you want it to. Now, this can save you the need to have quarterly estimated taxes to cover the tax on this kind of income as well. So kind of keep that in mind if you fall into that category. Well, finally, my last email comes from Isabella Garcia from Covington, Kentucky. Says she won a TV and wants to know, what the heck's the tax? Well, let me tell you. She says, I won a flat screen TV as a prize, and a Form 1099 reporting its value was sent to me and the IRS. But the value on the 1099 was the full manufacturer's suggested retail price, which is far more than the TV actually sells for in stores. This is unfair. Can I report a lower amount? Well, Isabella, yeah, you can. The prize is taxable to you at its fair market value, which is the price at which it actually sells at retail. Now, if this is lower than the price reported on that 1099, you can report the lower amount on your tax return. But be careful. Expect the IRS's computers to catch the difference between the two amounts, and that the IRS will contact you to ask about that difference. So, to be safe, document the lower value that you report with price advertisements from local retailers or the internet, and keep this proof in your tax files. If the IRS then calls you, there should be no problem at all. Now, I want to remind you that we do this as an entertainment section of the show. We always encourage you to talk to a tax professional, a licensed tax professional in your area, before you go off and you do anything else. The whole idea here is that you're protected. They have to have errors and omissions insurance, which means that if they give you the wrong advice and they make a mistake and it's going to cost money, guess who has to pay the money? They do. They're responsible. That's what the errors and omissions insurance does, and you want to make sure that you're dealing with a licensed professional so that you know that they have that. That lets you sleep at night. It gives you peace of mind. You don't have to worry about these things. You don't have to look over your shoulder. You don't have to do any of that kind of stuff to have that kind of peace of mind. Isn't that worth it? Yeah, I think so. It's worth every single nickel of what you're doing and why you're doing it. You know, I'd appreciate it if you tell your friends about my show here on Spreaker Radio. That's SPREAKER.com, and then just search Robert Cardoza Live. We want to build up a loyal following here, and I could sure use your help in doing that. Now, in a couple of weeks, we're going to be coming out with some apps. One for the iPhone, and then one for Android, which will do all the other Windows apps.
And so people will be able to follow us. They'll be able to talk to us during the show. They'll be able to listen live or recorded. So we certainly would hope that you would do that for us, will you? Yeah. I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. I also broadcast on Roar 1776 Radio and on Live 365 Radio every Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google+, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. That's where I get all the emails I deal with here on the show. On my next show, my expert contributor is going to be John Hanson, that little old wine drinker, talking about food and wine. And my special guest will be John Kurth, the Wizard of Words, talking about the syntax of success. I encourage you to tell all of your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza. Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again on Monday for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. In the meantime, stay happy, stay safe, and have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Good night, everybody.